Hi everyone, another video just in front of the weekend, and we are gonna look at the Mercedes-Benz S-Class from the W220 generation. This car came onto the market, I believe, in 98, 99 and ran until 2006. And this car also had AMG models. And this car is already quite old actually, and I think it's gonna be a classic. Personally, I think this is the most beautiful S-Class. That's my opinion. And they also had an S55 AMG variant, which has the 5.5 liter V8, and for the time was very, very quick. Here we have an example. It's done 115,000 kilometers, 15K. It's from June of 2001. Beautiful car. I mean, this looks like it has American style plates, but a very clean color. Also, very Mercedes-Benz of the early 2000s. AMG spec. You can see it's a nice Benz, but it's not over the top. Typical early 2000s Benz. I love it. I mean, personally, yeah, the W220 is not the most reliable of all the S classes, but in my opinion, the most beautiful one. So let's look into this. Yeah, I mean, beautiful car, beautiful, definitely. Look at this. I mean, yeah, from personal preference, definitely the most beautiful S-Class, second to none, definitely. So moving on. This car looks quite good. No rust here in the usual places. Unfortunately, these cars rust at various points. I think the wheel arches, also the trunk lid, the doors, and this side of the car here as well. If they wouldn't rust and they would be better protected, I think this car would not be that cheap. But it looks, look at this, I mean, time capsule. This was just before the internet, basically. We already had the internet, definitely, but before cars really came connected and full of electronical gadgets. That being said, this car is full of electronics, and this car is 23 years old already, so there might be issues there. But overall, this car looks great, don't you think? Heated and ventilated seats, memory positions of the car, of the seats. I mean, yeah, beautiful. I mean, beautiful, beautiful car. This one is really maintained well, and this car was very expensive when brand new, and now it's yeah. I mean, not even 15,000 is not a lot. The 5.5 liter V8 produced 362 horsepower, which is plenty today. And back in the time, back in the days in 2000, 2001, this was really powerful, really powerful. So this is the W220, and this is also the 55 AMG, the S55 AMG, and this is the long wheelbase version. This looks a little bit more mafia-ish. They don't have a license plate, so you cannot really do a check how old this video is, or this car is, if it's imported or not. I already did a video on the reliability and things to check out and look for when buying a car like this, especially the W220 chassis, the things that can go wrong. They had loads of options. They had 4 cylinders, 6 inlines, V8. They even had a V12 in the S65 AMG. So that's the top spec model. But this S55 AMG with the 5.5 liter V8 is, I think it's lighter, yes, and maybe even more fun. The S65 was really for the people that had lots of money and just they wanted an S class and the most expensive one, and they wanted the V12. So yeah, this car is a little bit vulgar, I would say. but not even 100,000 kilometers. I don't know. Does it look like? Yeah, it looks okay. It looks good. This is from 2000, so this is 24 years old. It's an old car, but it looks all right. It looks nice. But I'm very curious who bought it and who decided to almost not drive it in like almost a quarter century. I don't understand. These cars, I mean, if I had it on a driveway, I would regularly plan long trips, especially if you have this type of money to buy a car. You have money to put fuel in it, to drive around, to book a hotel. I don't know, drive this car, drive it, enjoy it. It's not a car to let it sit in the garage all the time. And it's my personal opinion that this car is already a classic. Let's go back. We also have from 2006, this is the W221, I believe. So this is the first generation of the S-Class. That was the next generation S-Class, I should say. And this is the S500, so this also has a V8, 5.5 liters. This is the other generation. And I think this run from 2006 until 2013-ish. So, yeah. This is more of the late 2000s. Personally, I really appreciate the styling more and more over time, but when it was just introduced, it's just too swollen. It's not as sleek as the W220 that I just showed you. So this car, the S500 or 550, what it says the S550 here, it says the 500. So this is the 5.5 liter V8 tuned by AMG. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? Beautiful car, definitely. Nothing wrong with this. Beautiful, beautiful car. And the interior is already more geared towards technology. This was, I still remember Jeremy Clarkson reviewing one. Beautiful. So close to 400 horses back then. Car in itself weighs more than 2 tons. Big car, definitely. But let's focus on the W220 generation, because that's really what I think is going to be a future classic. It is a classic already in my book, but it's just something about this early 2000s styling that really gets me. Beautiful. In white, it's such a beautiful car. Before this, we had the W140, which is called the Cathedral, and that was really, for its time, it was such a big car, and this is way more stylish. Unfortunately, by the late 90s, Mercedes start cutting costs, and they cheaped out on a lot of things. So these cars didn't really age that well. If you know what to look out for, there's still parts available for it, but they're not built as tanks no more as the Benzes from the 80s and early 90s. This is definitely from a different time. I still see a few of them on the road, but not that much anymore. If it would be a good car, you would still see them more often. But the thing is, you can buy them for relatively cheap, but there's always work to be done. There's always something to improve. It's definitely not a car that you should buy on a budget, so to speak. You shouldn't. Also here, man, look at this. 100,000 kilometers. I mean, personally, I don't believe that. You're not buying a 5.5 liter V8 and you know, this is a 2002, so it's already 22 years old. You do the math, right? How many kilometers you drive each year? Why you buy such a car? I don't get it. I mean, nowadays, this is probably a car that's imported from Germany. A lot of these cars get here and they kind of reset the odometer, right? The number of miles that are racked up, you can tweak a bit. Because with these cars, the engine-wise, Mercedes is basically unbeatable. It's all the other things around it that start rusting or start failing, electrical issues, things like that, because there are processor chips in here that are now 22 years, 23, 24 years old. They will fail on you. And when they fail, you have some issues, definitely, because it's full of electronics. Engine-wise, these cars will last forever. Mercedes-Benz has built a great reputation for reliable cars, but it's not the same anymore as in the 80s and the 90s when Mercedes-Benz was run by engineers. By this time, the finance boys kicked in and they decided where to spend money and where not to spend any money. When you ask an engineer to build the best car possible, they will go at very far lengths and they don't care about the costs, and you will get a car that will outlast you, basically. But it's not a good business model for Mercedes-Benz, so that's why they ditched that idea, and then the guys from the finance department came in and took over, and that's why you get these kind of cars. So, beautiful car, definitely, but not as reliable, and not as much longevity in there as you wish. Okay, let's see what else we got. CDI. So a 2006 early production model, just a 3-liter 6-in-line diesel with a turbo or compressor or something like that. Not even 300,000 kilometers. You can buy for less than 7,000 euros. So this is the last one I will review. It's not an AMG, but it's under 7K. You can buy something like this, and with a few tweaks and maybe some inspection, you can have a car like this. If you drive lots of kilometers, I mean, there's not a better way to. But you see, this car is used. It's been used heavily, and it could have been a taxi, could have been something else. But you see, this is the newer generation. It's more digital, but this car has been used heavily. I mean, it could be 500,000 kilometers, you don't know. I mean, Mercedes-Benz diesels, if they are operated on a daily basis and they have their regular maintenance, I mean, they can reach 500,000 kilometers or upwards. It's not a problem. But even here, people have been sitting quite regularly. But this is 2006, so it's an old car now, and you don't buy a diesel to have it standing still, especially not in the Netherlands. So here you kind of have it. Let's see if we got anything else that is special that I can show you. No, these are all the newer generations. I'm really looking for the W220, and I think we covered most of them already. Yeah, this is also beautiful. Not even 14,000, but the kilometers, I don't trust it. Also, this one is 133,000. Who buys a car like that and barely drives it? So, if I can give you any tip out there, like this is, I wouldn't trust it. I would, if you're Dutch and you're watching this video, go to Germany directly, get all the service history, and don't buy a car that's imported from Germany by Car Trader or a car garage or car dealer or whatever, because they're not honest people. A lot of things can happen because basically it gets a new life here in the Netherlands, and all the old history can be erased. Don't buy a car like this without any service history. I mean, you can be lucky. Yeah, you can. Maybe if you're very good mechanically yourself, you can do the thing like that. But I wouldn't suggest it to nobody to do this. These cars, they will cost money each year, at least at 2,000-3,000, just to keep it running and to fix things. These are old cars. Yes, they're worth it in my opinion. But they're old, full of technology and old technology, and it will break down. It just will. But when it does run, you have this beautiful 5.5-liter V8 tuned by AMG, you feel like a king. This is definitely the best car that they built. for the time. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you have a great weekend, and see you in the next one.